Hey guys, subscribe for daily knife content. And if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I have a very special knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. These are the heavily anticipated Demko AD20.5s in drop point, I guess is what they're calling it, and shark's foot, which is cool. They're calling it the shark's foot because like sheep's foot, but it's the shark lock, right? Really cool. Okay, so here's the special thing about these. If you didn't know, the Demko AD20, the originals, which you're seeing right here, very popular, very difficult to get. We have a brand new locking system that is incredibly strong, supposed to rival the strength of the Triad-Lock, perhaps even go beyond it, coming from the person who invented both, Andrew Demko, right? It is fully ambidextrous and makes it super easy to manipulate, right? So yeah, these were, the American ones were extremely popular, right? Really expensive though. The cheapest version being actually, this is the G10 variant coming in at $425, MG AD20 and G10. The Grivery version coming in at $350, that's the least expensive one. And then the titanium MG AD20 coming in at $625, right? The customs are even higher. Now these guys, I've had these for a little bit. These were sent to me directly by the Demkos. From the Demkos. There is not an official price point for these yet, but from everything that I understand, right, this is not official. It's not official until they say it. The target price point is apparently somewhere between $120 and $150. Also, on top of that, these being much less expensive, right, the plan apparently is to make these substantially more available. I think that was kind of obvious given, right, these are manufactured in Taiwan, smaller, lower price point, right? They're trying to get these out there. People are very, very excited about these, and I am too. I have a lot to say about them. I've been EDCing this guy like crazy, and yeah, very much in favor of this move, and I think a lot of people will like these. I don't normally do reviews on Saturdays, but I really wanted to bring this to you guys and give you my my complete thoughts. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. You can find a link for my Patreon right down in the description, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and move one of these out of the way. We're gonna get some overall specs here real quick. The overall length, and I want to point this out here, the overall length of the drop point here is coming in at exactly 7.5 inches with exactly a 3 1/8, like for the blade is about 3 1/8, and then your cutting edge is about 2.9. Now, for whatever reason, the shark's foot is a little tiny bit shorter. The handle is exactly the same, right? The handle length is exactly the same, but the overall length is actually about a little over a 7 1/4. The blade is exactly 3 inches and the cutting edge is about 2.75. And I would imagine it has something to do with that drop at the nose. I don't really care if it's a little tiny bit shorter. This one might get you out of some legal situations where the blade length law is exactly 3 inches. This one is definitely a little bit longer, so that's something to keep in mind depending on where you live. Maybe they did that on purpose. I have no idea. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons here. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. And its little brother, the Ontario Rat Model 2. I think especially up against the Rat 2, people are going to find this size of knife to be very favorable for EDC. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? And its little brother, the Spyderco Para 3. Once again, fans of the Spyderco Para 3, which I am a huge fan of. Look at the lines here. Look at the length. Yeah, big fan of this. You guys know the Spyderco Para 3 is one of my favorite. It's my most carried EDC of all time. If you have not checked out my series, Quest for the Very Best EDC Folding Knife, or the Very Best EDC Folding Knife, I go into great detail about what I look for and why I love the Para 3 so much. So I think it's kind of obvious here, right here, just looking at this, you guys probably know where this is headed. But believe me, I've got more to say. Imagine that, I've got more to say. And last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and its little brother, the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. So you can see there, it's right in between. That sweet 7.5 inch spot for EDC. Really nice. All right, let's go ahead and do carry profile. How about thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3? Look at that. Not thick. That's going to be beneficial for a lot of people. This makes this a little bit easier to carry than even the knives like the Para 3, which is kind of amazing. How about length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3? Lengthwise, we're basically looking at the same length as the Para 3, maybe a hair longer, definitely shorter than the PM2, and nowhere near as tall, including the top of the blade right underneath it. The Para 3 clears it by quite a ways, same with the PM2. Dimensionally, this is excellent. It really is. What are we looking for for materials here? We're looking at grivery that is actually reinforced. I didn't catch this in the unboxing. There is a milled out steel liner inside there. It's a recessed liner. Can you see the lip? See if I can get it up here. Yeah, all the way through, and it's milled. So this is not just grivery. It is actually reinforced by a backspacer, the part of the lock that's caging the coil spring for the shark lock, right? And then it's got steel liners, which is just fantastic. It gives it a much more solid feel. Something that's this thin, right? Benchmade bug out. Well, that's a weird cough. And is using all grivery. It feels really cheap and flimsy, but not when it's actually backed up by something like the backspeed. It has all this reinforcement. It feels much more solid, which is great because the originals are monstrous, hulking, robust beasts. In fact, I'll give you guys a size comparison here. The original and this guy, right? I'll also let you guys look dimensionally this way. Blade stock thickness on the original guy here is 185 thousandths, much thicker. Blade stock on this guy, let's get my calipers here, is gonna come in at 125 thousandths roughly, which is probably perfect. A lot of good here. How about weight? Weight on this guy. The weight is coming in at, if you saw my unboxing, you saw this, 3.5-ish ounces. Yeah. Don't have a problem with that. If you're big into ratios, you know, oh, the blade to, you know, overall length to weight ratio or whatever, ounce and inch. Okay, this is pretty close. Don't really have a problem with it, right? Really fantastic. How about a hardware check? Again, if you watch the unboxing, you've already seen this. Let's see here. I believe the pivot is a T10. Yeah, there we go. Pivot on this guy, coming in at a T10. Not gonna have to do it for these guys. 3 of them, they are T6. Really wish they were T8. That just really would have been the cherry on top of everything. But they're not. Whatever. Not a big deal. Just be careful. Make sure you've got quality tools, quality driver, and you should be good to go. Okay, so what are we looking at for the blade steel? Let me just be very clear about this. AUS 10A, not AUS 8 and not AUS 10. People, so many people in the unboxing were like, AUS 8, no thanks. It's like, AUS 10A is not the same thing as AUS 8. AUS 10A is also not the same thing as AUS 10. Did I say that correctly? Yeah. So what is AUS 10A? AUS 10A is essentially it's the annealed form of AUS 10. Everything that I have read and understood, now I've been EDCing this guy for just doing normal stuff with it, just normal day-to-day things, right? Nothing that I could, would give me a definitive, like, this is gonna perform exactly this way. But from what I understand, AUS 10A actually performs very similarly to 154CM, which is one of my favorite steels of all time. Does it have the ultimate best amazing edge retention? No. Does it have the best toughness in the world? No. Does it have the most amazing stainless qualities in the world? No. But it's pretty good in all of those areas. In fact, it's extremely well rounded out. That's why I like 154CM. Now, there are some slight variances. I don't think it'll hold an edge quite as long, but it is plenty tough and plenty stainless, and it's very easy to sharpen. This is not AUS 8. It's not AUS 8. I have to say that because every time we talk about AUS 10, people are like, oh, AUS 8. Not AUS 8. No. I do not have a problem with AUS 10A. Now, people are going to be quick to point out, I wish that was G10. I wish that it was a slightly better blade steel. I'm not going to try and speak for the Demkos, but I'm going to guess maybe they are considering maybe at some point down the road doing a more premium version of this that is still less expensive than the American variant. I feel like maybe they're setting themselves up for that. I don't know, though. That's a total guess. That's just me like, yeah, this is not cold steel, right? But if you look at what Cold Steel, you know, they have the SR1 Lite and the SR1. They have the Demko AD15 Lite and the AD15, right? Yeah, I think maybe that's a possibility for the future. Anyways, I don't have a problem with this build. Ergonomically, a lot of people were asking, can you get a full purchase on that guy, right? Yeah, you can. I wear an XL glove, and this just locks in so well. You can choke up on it, fantastic. No problem there because of how that's set up. That's really great. Also, ease of manipulation, like I showed before, is so simple. Sorry, we're working at an angle here, but you literally just pull down on this lever and it releases the blade. This is running on bearings, by the way. And it has all of the same clicks and clacks and all the same, right? You can do that. You can use the little thumb slot to deploy it. You can use the thumb stud to deploy it. You can reverse flick it with the thumb stud. You can pick it up and Spidey drop it, right? Left-handed, no problem, because the lock is ambidextrous. You can take the pocket clip and switch it over to the other side. It'll just fit with those handle screws. This is great. Doesn't matter. If you're right-handed, left-handed, right, you're a switch hitter, you're just doing something that, well, I'm going to use this hand right now. It'd be nice if I could use my left hand to manipulate this knife, right? It doesn't matter. I'm right-handed. This thing is so easy to manipulate. It's basically everything that I said about the AD20, the full size, right? Whether it's the titanium one or whatever. It's just shorter, thinner, and lighter. And less expensive, and eventually more available. For those of you still with me here at the 11-minute and 33-second mark, I will be putting links down in the description that should be set up to eventually go to these knives when they are available. These are not available yet. I'm kind of preemptively doing this review because I want to get this information out there. So the links down below will be set up as a search for the exact name of this item through the retailers that I work with. So if you're watching this video on the exact day that it comes out, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to bring any results up. You're welcome to check it if you want, but depending on when you're watching it, it might actually populate results. So those links are right down in the description. Anyways, let's take a look at the blade finish here, and let's switch these up so you can take a look at the shark's foot. That tumbling is just fantastic. I'm so glad they didn't go with a freaking boring, just machine satin finish. Oh man, that's just gonna look so much better over time. These areas inside here have all been knocked down as a result of the tumbling. Same thing up here, the spine. Sorry, we're trying to focus on this guy. Yeah, up here on the spine, all knocked down. This is great. The edges of the jimping, fantastic. The jimping extends out far enough to where your thumb actually finds a natural spot. If you're having to do something like this or something like this, it feels normal. It doesn't stop back here, right? It goes to the right place. With this guy, if you're going to want to do some draw cuts or whatever, it's natural, right? With this guy, if you want to lay your thumb down here on the nose of the blade, it'll work, right? We do have a flat on both knives that carries out about 85% the length of the blade. At 125 thousandths, there's plenty of thickness carried out to, you know, the tip of the blade. These aren't weak blades by any stretch of the imagination, but because of the grinds and because of, you know, how much thinner they are versus the original, right? This is a thick boy. These guys are going to cut better. We're not talking about open-L performance, but they are definitely thinner behind the edge than the original thick boy here, for sure. I've had no trouble with this digging in. I really like this blade. Really, like, I love the original. Both of mine, my titanium and my G10 variants, are in that drop point blade, and I've liked them a lot. This guy I've been carrying. I don't carry this one. It's the same thing though. I've been carrying the big boy. This shark's foot, man, this is a great blade shape. Oh my gosh, I just love this. Thumb stud is, I mean, you know, 1/16 of an inch in the cutting path there, but not really. You're going to be able to get right up behind the blade and cut. Most of what you're cutting is going to clear that thumb stud, which is just great. I've had no problem with this. Cutting bevels look fantastic on both sides. Give you guys a look there. Really great. Nice and sharp, glassy smooth right out of the box. Been cutting with this guy for a little bit. Cut into some cardboard, some plastic. Don't have any nicks or rolls or anything. And you know, when it comes time to sharpen it, hey, if it's going to act a lot like 154 CM, I don't have a problem with that at all. This is still a stainless steel, by the way. I believe it's right on the line at something like 14% chromium. If I'm wrong, correct me. I believe it's about 14% chromium. I'm not the steel master. You should go to Laren Thomas Knife Steel Nerds to you know, get a full comprehensive breakdown of the composition of the steel and its performance. Oh boy, up here on the pivots we have Demko knives, much like it says on the original, except this guy's the whole pivot, and then on the other side it says Wampum PA. It says that too. That's where the knife was designed, right? It's just a little bit different. It's more of a pivot collar that's part of the scale. It says that. I appreciate they left that in there. We have the same diamond texturing that we have on the original. It's identical. And it feels great too. It's not aggressive, but it does lock you in. You are so locked in on this knife. You're not gonna drop it. This thing is great. This makes it so versatile. And because of the dimensions, this knife is right at home in shorts, like athletic shorts and khakis, work pants, right? It doesn't really matter. It's just, he found that perfect balance, right, between EDC knife and work knife. Or knife that you wear in dress pants, whatever. It's nice and thin, but it's reinforced in the right places. First off, the shark lock, yeah, it's essentially, gonna be the exact same strength as any triad lock of the same dimensions. Again, the person you're gonna have to argue with about that, like people who are like, no way, triad lock, you're gonna have to argue with the guy who made the locks, both the triad lock and the shark lock. That would be Andrew Demko. So, but yeah, as far as I understand his words there, yeah, super strong, fantastic, very easy to disengage. In fact, let me tell you this, guys, the only difference between this lock and the lock on the original is just the size of it. The sound and everything, the way that the blade reacts and the tension on the lock, it feels, it's the same thing. It's the same, it's just scaled down. There were no corners cut in quality here, nothing. It's just different materials and scaled down. I just love that so much. I think there was a million different ways this could have gone wrong, and all of them seem to be avoided. Can you guys tell that I like this? I don't know if you can tell. Edges all nicely knocked down, no sharpness or anything like that. Honestly, I'm not feeling any crazy hot spots. You gotta watch out a little bit right here to make sure you don't run your finger up on the cutting edge, but no big deal. Just pay attention. You can kind of cock back on this little area right here and it's plenty comfortable. There's a sharpening tool right there as well, so that's fantastic. A couple of pins up there holding everything in, like the, the stop pin up here. Nice rounding, they kept that. That's fantastic. This is all steel. These are hardened. I don't know if it's the exact same hardening process as the original, but these are hardened. So this interaction here should just keep going and going and going, right? Great. Just very, here, super smooth. Let me show you guys that again. Yeah. Just great. Just so great. You guys might think, oh, they sent those knives to him, right? And he's a huge Demko fan, so of course he's gonna say, no, hey, I backed myself up a long time ago when I talked about exactly what I wanted in an ultimate EDC knife. I backed this up a long time ago before this was announced at all. Spoiler alert, the end of that series is almost this. What I said, my dream, my fantasy EDC knife is almost this exactly. So no, this has nothing to do with the fact that, they sent these to me. Yeah, they did all this right. Seating, everything, fit and finish, all looks great. There's no part of this where I'm like, ew, no, that's not fitting together right. I don't like that. It doesn't look like it's solid or that it's being held in place properly. No, everything looks great. We have a little backspacer back here, which is basically a, it's Grivery. Sorry, I was looking at it. I was looking at it through my own eyes, and then I looked up at the camera. It wasn't focusing. This is also Grivery. The texturing, you can feel it. It's kind of flush with both sides of the scale, so that's great. We have a lanyard hole for lanyard people, so it's there. And it is part of the pocket clip. The pocket clip does not carry deep, but it also does not carry shallow. I had somebody, saying, oh, it's a shallow clip. No, this is all the more that's sticking up out of your pocket. That's fine. I don't care. A good clip is not defined by how deep it carries. A good clip is defined by a whole bunch of different things. We're about to talk about that. But if the clip hung way down here, I'd be kind of upset about that. It doesn't. It hangs right here, so that's fine. In and out of the pocket, it's fine. Texturing creates a little tiny bit of resistance, but not really that much, because right underneath the pocket clip are these little pads right here that actually say AD20.5. It's probably my least favorite aesthetic part of this knife, but it serves a purpose, so I can't complain about it too much. This sort of spoon-shaped clip has a little bit of a bill. There's no continuous rise, but I found in and out of my regular pants it's been okay. Jeans with thicker pocket seams, you might have to fight it a little bit, right? It's really just the bill. The nice thing is because the bill is flat, it does not create a hot spot. If it were a continuous rise, which is actually something I prefer, I might feel it a little bit. Compared to the pocket clip on my Spyderco Para 3, which I do like a lot, because of where that pocket clip falls, it's not that big of a deal. The bill of the clip falls way back here on the back of my palm, right? And it's like this pad right here sort of falls right into that dip. But on this knife, if this bill were sticking straight up, it would fall into the middle of my hand, and it might actually have created a hot spot. So I guess I appreciate that, right? Like I said, ambidextrous clip, ambidextrous lock, righty, lefty, switch hitter, doesn't matter. You can enjoy this knife. Fantastic. How's the centering and lockup? Dead centered. How's the lockup? Take my word for it. Completely. Oh my God. For how light and thin this knife is, it's just impressively. I am wrenching on this right now, and I'm going in a circular motion, right? Solid. Solid, solid, solid. So what can I nitpick here? It's got T6 screws. Pocket clip doesn't have a continuous rise, so thick pocket seams, you might have to mess with it a little bit, but it's flat, so it's not a hot spot. Not the biggest fan of that it says AD20.5 right there, but okay. Would it have been nice if we could have this knife made in the United States? Well, sure. In fact, we already have it. It's this guy. It costs a lot of money. Well, that guy's bigger. That's why it costs more. No. In fact, if they made exactly this with exactly these materials in the United States, it would cost way more. It doesn't matter that it's small. If they tried to do this in the United States, I'm going to guess that the shark lock is not cheap to machine. There's some moving parts in there. Everything's got to be exactly right. That's going to cost money to do, right? So no, it's not like they can just snap their fingers and be like, here you go, American-made AD20.5s with premium materials for $120, right? No, it's not going to work like that. I think it's pretty fantastic that this exists. Am I okay with the materials? Sure. Would I have liked G10 on this over Grivory? Well, yeah, but that's just like me. Like, I just like how G10 feels better than Grivory. Both of them are probably about the same durability. In any case, it's backed up with steel liners, so I can't really complain too much. AUS 10A, would it be my first choice for this price range? Well, no. There'd be some, I mean, gosh, it would have been great to have S35VN and G10, right? The combination of those two things. But that's okay. I honestly won't be surprised if down the road we see a Taiwan-made AD20.5 in G10 and S35VN. I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw a larger one. I know some people thought, oh, I wish it was the same size as the full-size one. I don't speak for them. In fact, they've told me nothing. I'm literally just speculating. I don't have any inside information. Seriously, I don't know anything. I'm just guessing. But I am happy with the materials that we've got here, right? I don't know what the exact price will be, and it's just speculation at the time of this video. By the time they officially announce it, you guys are welcome to say so down in the comment section. Their target price point is between $120 and $150. As you approach closer to the $150 mark, I'm like, as long as it's not more than $150, I think I'll be okay. If they end up actually making this knife a $120 to $125 knife, oh my gosh. Look, either way, no matter what, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think this is one of the most important knives of 2021. In fact, I think this is like one of the most amazing EDC knives ever. You know, I just recently talked about, you know, the knife that came closest to what I wanted in an ultimate EDC knife was the Spyderco Sage 5 Lightweight. And one of the comments I said, because the Spyderco Sage 5 is very similar in terms of length, right? The weight, ease of manipulation, placement of things. It's a different knife, but there are similar elements that I look for in a perfect EDC knife. The one thing it was missing, though, was an ambidextrous lock. Not just so that it can cater to left-handed people, but so that it's easy to manipulate with both hands. Somebody who's going to actually use this knife in the setting that it was meant to be used in, right? Which is a work setting, right? Sometimes you're going to be switching your hands around. It's nice to have that. They knocked this out of the park. This is amazing. This is so good. I'm serious. This is one of, if not the most recommendable knife, as long as they keep it at that target price point, between 120 and 150. If it creeps up on 150, it's like, but it's still recommendable, right? Man, if they hit that one, they get 120 to 130, and I'm just gonna be just, God, dude. Yeah, this is stupidly recommendable. When are these gonna be available? Are they gonna be available in different colors? Are there going to be variances? As far as I understand, again, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe their goal is to make, variants and colors and things like that available. What does that mean? What colors will be available? I have no idea. The best thing you can do is follow them, Andrew Demko and John Demko, on Instagram. I do not speak for them. Everything that I've said in this entire review is purely speculation, guesswork based on the information that's been floating around and some of the information that I've got from their Instagram. If I'm wrong about something, please correct me. I'd rather people have the right information. Yeah, I mean, unless you just absolutely hate the profile of this knife, right? I mean, if you hate how it looks, there's not much I can do for you. But if you're looking for, whether you're new to this or whether you've been around for a while, if you're looking for, the answer to all of your EDC prayers, the Demkos, the Demkos have answered. Oh, God. This is fantastic. Extremely recommendable. One of the most recommendable knives in existence. This is just great. I'm so happy. Really cool to have everything here to compare to, right? Switch some things out, give you guys a look at everything. But yeah, it's just great. This translated so well. I couldn't be happier. I already own the American Bad Boys, right? I'm really glad that more people are going to be able to get their hands on these at some point, because it's just, these were in such high demand for so long, so popular, right? They'd pop up at retailers and these big boys and they'd just be gone immediately. Well, now people who really want to experience these, either people who just couldn't land one of these or people who just didn't want to fork over 400, 600, 350, whatever. People who didn't want to fork over that much money for a knife, right? There's an option for you, and it's a fantastic option. I am so happy to say that these are, they're everything that I could have wanted and more. I'm really happy they started off with a smaller size. And let me emphasize here, this version, this Shark's Foot version, is just an absolute beast of an EDC. Absolutely wonderful. Guys, there's not much more that I can say here. This is about as close to a perfect EDC as has ever existed in the knife world. And I'm just beyond happy about it. I hope you guys got all the information that you wanted from this video. I hope that you were at the very least mildly entertained. Like I said, the links down below will eventually, hopefully, link to retailers that will be carrying these, but I don't know. I don't know where they're going to be dropping. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts while I had them both here. Anyways, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.